Pedro from A&P-Reacts. I'm here with Nanowar of Steel, at least 2/5, I guess, of Nanowar of Steel. But you know, it's the most powerful fifths that there are. And we're here to talk about Italian folk metal. I didn't even knew this was a thing until you guys made it a thing. How are you guys doing?
We are doing
fine. I have a lot of Legos here, and that's the best things you can have in your life.
No, the best thing you can have in your life is this thing.
Oh.
Is that the vinyl?
Let's do some shameless self-promotion. Come on.
Is that the vinyl? Can you show that again?
Yeah, that's the vinyl. So the vinyl is in the vinyl player, but so the actual vinyl is empty. But yeah, this when normal people buy this, then we'll actually find a vinyl, not an empty bag. But yeah, that's the interior. You can see lots of nice pictures. There are nice faces, including my face, Mohammed Abdul's face, and so yeah.
And nice lyrics.
Nice lyrics.
I hope.
I was going to ask you guys, this was not one of the questions that I was going to ask you, but since you brought the vinyl up, the cover of the vinyl, is that Domenico Bini on the cover?
Gatto.
No. You mean this guy?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Like I would say, okay, let's put things this way. This is like Italy's national hero. But also Domenico Bini is Italy's national hero, right?
I thought Topo Gigio was Italy's national hero.
No, he died. No. He fell into disgrace when they found out he was a drug addict. There was a huge scandal. Topo Gigio was basically importing methadone from Colombia, and so
he was my hero growing up. You realize that in Portugal they would play as Topo Gigio before sending the kids to bed. So
I understand so many things now.
Yeah.
So before going to bed every night, I would listen to Topo Gigio singing some songs and whatever. It was part of my childhood.
Have you ever been in Colombia?
No.
Okay.
Have you ever been in jail?
I'm surprised for that answers.
All right. So maybe Topo Gigio has a different meaning to me than it does for you guys. So,
yeah. For me, it's like a shitty drug addict mouse that was throwing children into drug addiction just to sell them drugs, and so he could buy more drugs for himself. He was a filthy creature.
That explains why after a couple of years he got fired. So that makes all the sense in the world now.
He wasn't fired. He went to jail. Yeah.
He went to jail. Okay. Well, in Portugal they told us that he got fired. So
of course you didn't know the true version. Yeah.
They were trying to be a little bit more considerate to the children. You know what I mean?
They weren't telling you the real story. It makes sense. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they were being.
I found it out the hard way.
Yeah, I found out the hard way about Santa, so I have also a little bit of an issue with that. Now, going into the record, Italian folk metal, there's so many things to address about this album with you guys, at least from my perspective, because I feel like after listening to the album multiple times, I'm only scratching the surface of this record. It's starting off from the beginning. What do you feel has changed the most with the band across 6 albums leading, getting into this one now, Italian folk metal? What do you see from yourselves changing or progressing from that earlier stages to now?
Apart from the usual comments on weight and hair loss and weight gain, hair loss.
Yeah. Hair gain and weight loss is never a combination of things.
But we can talk about tooth loss and regrowth. Actually, during the recording of this album, I lost one tooth and then I got back another tooth. So that's the most important thing to talk about.
Well, your smile looks marvelous. So I think if anything, it was an upgrade.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's an upgrade because it's making Abdul less specific, like
special.
Like Abdul without one tooth, like one of the front teeth, was very special to us. It was like our I don't know, it's something
weird pirate.
Unique. It's something unique. It's very piratey and yeah.
Yeah, it's very part, but that doesn't go with Italian folk metal. So,
No.
so from
I
that
see we're not
perspective-
addressing your question, but yeah.
yeah. You're trying to evade my question because you know what you guys don't realize is before I listened to this album and before I did this review, I went back to your previous records, and that's why I'm asking you this question because I think there's some incredible gems there in the past of Nanowar of Steel that at some point in time you guys have to re-release them. If Napalm has the cojones to do it, re-release them. But as a band, how do you see the progression for you guys?
So I would say that the main thing, I mean, apart from the label and the main progression is that we're probably more conscious about what we do. So we got some plans. Like in the past was more, yeah, let's write a bunch of songs, let's put them on an album, and let's see what happens. That's like been Nanowar of Steel for, I would say, the first 14 to 15 years of existence. And then at some point we said, okay, let's try to do something, but let's try at least to make some plan and, like, let's try to give some context to the albums that we do. Let's try to make things like with some brain. Which is my maybe it's not a very interesting reply. I'm sorry, but you are looking for the serious and boring stuff, and there
no. That reply is fine. That reply is fine. And I know you mentioned the label. This is your first album. I mean, the previous album was re-released on Napalm, but this is your first actual release, if you will, with Napalm. Did that change for you guys the dynamics of how you approach the album? Was there any extra pressure? Did they give you a list of do's and don'ts?
No,
not at all. So we are what changed basically in the process of doing the album is the pandemic actually, and that changed a lot. But from my point of view, I would say that it gave us the time to improve the process. So we had a lot of more time to go into the details of the album before recording it. And I remember that for the previous albums, some things were fixed and written during the recording time, and that caused that some things, especially on the guitar part, I would change them now if I re-listen to them. If it's the same on Italian folk metal, that's because I'm crazy, because I spend a lot of time even together talking with each other. Okay, let's do this in this way, and let's do this kind of refinements and so on. So that's what it changed on the process. And yeah, and basically, the language of the songs that changed a lot. With respect to the things that you used to listen from us, maybe.
And we're going to talk about the language, because I think that's like, it's not the elephant in the room, because I don't think you can have an album called Italian folk metal and the album not to be in Italian. I mean, that would be the ultimate ruse if the album was like in Spanish or in Czech and it's called Italian folk metal. So I don't think you can have one without the other. That's just my personal opinion. But a little bit before that, what inspired you guys to create this theme of Italian folk metal? I don't even know if this was a thing before.
I'll tell you something that no one knows. We are Italian, so we tend to have a lot of interaction with things, people, culture, and music from Italy. And this has some slight influence on the way we think, on the way we make jokes, on the way we react to video reactions about Nanowar, for example. And that's I would say that's the main root cause of things being Italian. It's because we tend to be Italian.
You're proud of your heritage.
It's not. I mean, regardless, I don't. I'm not proud. I wouldn't say. It's part of me, whether I like it or not. And I like being who I am. So I would say I like being Italian because it happened so that I'm Italian.
Yeah, might as well make the best out of it.
Exactly. So
I'm with you on that one. Same thing as me being Portuguese. I had no choice in the matter. It's just kind of like the way things happen. So might as well make the best out of it.
Exactly.
How did
let's be Canadian in your case.
Well, I now I kind of have the best of both worlds, if you will, with both passports. I'm European, I'm North American. I have a little bit of both. Cool. How did you guys outline the record in terms of the styles the influences that you guys brought in from that ancestry, from that Italian exposure that you guys have into these songs? Did you guys have like, okay, we want a song that sounds like this, we want a song that sounds like that? It's kind of how you guys approached it.
Yeah, actually, it's exactly in that way. We decided to go in that direction because it's funny because in the introduction that we made on the album, perhaps is the only serious thing that we have ever written in. We ever wrote in the albums, because we did exactly that kind of process of writing. Folk metal tends to be Irish or Scottish songs, Scottish style of music melted with metal. That's true also for some very good Italian bands that do folk metal with Italian lyrics, but they do that kind of style that is Scottish or whatever, with the bagpipes and so on. And so we were wondering, how does the real folkish Italian metal would sound? And yeah, the answer is Italian folk metal. So we decided to pick the weirdest Italian music genres and put them together with metal, and that's the result.
I think it was genius, because I think there's a lot of similarities between the Portuguese culture and Italian culture, and for me growing up in Portugal, I was exposed to a lot of Italian.
Fado. No.
Italian culture. Fado, yeah. I mean, if you're going to do a Portuguese folk metal album, Fado would have to be one of the inspirations. So when I was going through this record, I may not understand the lyrics completely as I'm going through it, but the influences of where you guys are pulling some of these songs felt similar to me, because I was like, this could be a Portuguese folk metal. We have that same style music, you know what I mean? We have those same style approaches. So I thought that was genius. I was a little surprised that there was no Giovanotti style track in there. I was expecting, Io penso negativo, maybe would have been a good song, but you cannot have everything.
No, it's like there's this thing. It's called physical limits of the length of an album. It's a very strange concept in the digital age, but it's still there. So you cannot really publish things with 200 songs, because otherwise we would have been very happy to add more styles, as you said, maybe Giovanotti or Orietta Berti, whatever. There's like hundreds of thousands of billions of genes that can be suggested by our hundreds of thousands of billions of subscribers.
Yeah.
And so,
and you mentioned the pandemic. How challenging was the pandemic for you guys to get this album finalized and done?
Talking about the album, it's been harder for some aspects, like going in the studio and record, but it's been a lot easier for other aspects, like writing the songs, because we were used to write the songs on Skype, because since a long time we have never been in all 5 people in the same place for several reasons. So that didn't change. What changed a lot is that we had much more time to get in the details of the songs, and much more time to get in the refinements for the lyrics and so on. So that helped a lot. And yeah, basically it's just this.
Is it an organic process for you guys, the creation of the music, or do you have established rules where one guy works on the lyrics and the other guy works on the riffs and the other guy works on something else?
Usually it's like some kind of random process, in the sense that someone of us comes out with an idea and we say we should totally do a song about I don't know, IKEA. Okay, how should it sound like? And then it didn't work that way with Valhalla, by the way, but just to make an example, like whatever comes to my mind, it can be either, oh, I got a nice riff, what can we make with this riff? Oh, we can make a song about people pissing on their feet in public toilets. Oh, cool, yeah, that's a nice theme. It's one of the hot topics nowadays. Yeah. And so it's both ways, I would say. Like sometimes, like in this album, we said we need to cover this kind of themes, and so we need a song that sounds like this, and then eventually like the style came after the idea. But and then it's most of the time it's like all the 5 together working on the lyrics. Like we really there's a video. There are two videos we made during the pandemic last year. We streamed with our fans, so people can really see the way we write lyrics and we think about songs. Like we try to be careful about every single word we put there, and we are very critical about what we do all the time. Like the five of us, we are sort of checking all the time. Oh, I don't like this, or let's do it better. I know we can do it better. Yeah, let's do it better. Let's do it better. It's all the time like this. And then we make something mediocre at the end, but we still think it's
sometimes, you know, you have to take 2 steps back in order to take 1 step forward.
Yeah.
In this case,
this time we take 1 step forward to take 2 steps back.
You mentioned already the Italian on this album, and I for me I feel like that's perhaps, if there is an Achilles heel with this record, is that because of how limited it will be for people who don't speak the language to get all the jokes and all the innuendos and all the things that you guys are throwing on this record. Was there ever a concern? Because on the other hand, I also feel like I don't think you can have an Italian folk metal album that's not in Italian. So how did you guys juggle with that thought process?
So it was an issue. It's always been an issue, like, to be honest. But the idea was at some point, let's make a release just for Italy. Because Napalm, I mean, this is something we had in mind for a long time. And we said at some point we need to release this. And we never really knew with Napalm. I mean, then we signed up with Napalm and we told them, look, at some point we need to do this because we got ideas for an Italian only album, and we want to do this because yes, fuck you. Not really like this, but yeah, so good. And it was an issue. So it's
fuck you was the answer by Napalm.
No, but that's what we told them from the very start. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. No, but I would say that it's an issue, but we needed to do this, and we said we at some point we really thought, okay, let's make this like a sort of kind of side release and not make like an official Nanowar album and make it just for the Italian public. And then we talked with the label and said, oh, okay, let's try to sell it also to some dumb people abroad that will buy it regardless. So.
People like me.
You bought it.
You know, like it makes us feel a little bit more elevated in our status that we're listening to an album in a foreign language. You know what I mean? Even though we don't understand anything that's happening, it just makes us feel a little bit more cultured.
It's what happens usually to Italian people listening to English albums.
Oh, that's a good one. Going deeper into the record, I want to talk about 2 separate songs on this album, because there's 2 songs that I absolutely loved. Not that I didn't like the other tracks, but these 2 were special to me. And one of them is, forgive me my pronunciation, but Le Assedio de Porto Servo with Francesco Paoli. That track feels like a Flesh God Apocalypse track that you guys crashed. Like they were recording the track and you guys showed up and you kind of took over the booth. Was that your what you wanted out of that song?
No. Is it what you wanted, Valerio?
Oh yeah, actually that song is something really strange because it's one of the last songs that we wrote for the album. And we, in the process, it was something like, okay, we should do something like that. And even ourselves, at least me, I'm still surprised in how cool it came out, because my expectations were really low about the song, but in the end it came out quite cool. And I think that maybe part of the job is the voice, the great voice of the Flesh God Apocalypse singer. We decided to do that in that style, and we knew that it was going to fit, but not so much. not in this way. It really kicks ass, and it's very, very, very cool. So yeah, it's wonderful.
I mean, I think that's one nice thing about that song. If you think about the fact that we had this switch to pop music, and then the first track of the next Nanowar of Steel album starts with some screams and growls that we never had. It's like the first time we got some scream voices on one of our albums. It's
You guys started off the record with a death metal song. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's pretty much a death metal song.
Yeah.
I was blown away. I was like, Italian folk metal, and you start off like this. Wow, like what am I in for? So I think it's a phenomenal track, just phenomenal track.
And it's very funny. Just to give you a little bit of explanation about the song, it will take some time, so please stop me, kick me out of the call if I'm going too long. But it's funny because the song talks about Sardinia and the places in the northern part of Sardinia that are discos and places like that, where rich people go there to dance. And these parts of these clubs are owned by rich people coming from outside Sardinia. And the songs talk about a kind of a battle that's between one of the most famous owners of the clubs there and a typical Sardinian guy, because Sardinians people feel to be invaded by this kind of ugly people. And it's funny because the part of the disco owner, rich disco owner, it's the part of the singer of Flash God Apocalypse that screaming is screaming that he's going to invade Sardinia with Ryanair flights and stuff like that. And knowing that is crucial to understand how weird how weird the thing is, and the overall effect went very much over what we were expected from that song. So
knowing that now makes the song even better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I have to go listen to the song again, knowing that, because it just makes the song have even a bigger. It makes it even more funny because you have a death metal song about clubbing. I mean, like it's
Yeah.
it's genius. So
if you want
Actually,
to,
Flash God Apocalypse they recently did their cover of Blue. They did a dance version of a famous
Eiffel, is it Eiffel
Eiffel
69?
65.
65. I always thought it was
Yeah.
69, but anyway.
Yeah, no.
yeah.
And it's a good thing it's not 69 in that case.
Yeah.
It's an Italian band, by the way. It's an Italian dance band.
Are they Italian? I didn't know they were
Italian. Yeah, from Turin, as far as I know. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm learning something new today. I learned about Topo Gigio, now about Eiffel 65. It's quite the day. The next song I want to mention to you guys, this one, you guys probably never been to Toronto, but there's a portion of Toronto here called Little Italy. I mean, there's one of those in every
I have
city.
been to Toronto, actually.
You've been to Toronto?
Yeah.
So Little Italy it's like the place that I hate to drive by, especially during a World Cup or a Euro, because there's a huge animosity between Italians and Portuguese when it comes to World Cup and Euro. It's all about who gets eliminated first. So if I have a Portuguese flag in my car, I have to take it down if I'm driving through Little Italy, unless I want something to happen to my car. But that song, Il Signore degli Anelli dello Stadio, I'm butchering it, but you guys get what I'm saying. The moment that I heard this song, I was like, if I'm ever in the mood to drive through Little Italy, this is the song I'm going to play with my windows down. I love this song.
Yeah. That's one of my favorites. I think maybe it's one of the funniest songs of the album. Again, if you speak Italian, if you know Italian culture, because this is like a mix of all, when you go to the stadium and there's the stadium choirs, there's this chants that are being sung by the supporters of the different teams. And now, so there's this thing with political correctness in last years that's you're getting fined if you sing racist thing about Naples, if you just insult someone on grounds that is from Naples or from Turin or from Milan. So you're not really allowed to sing these songs anymore, because they used to, say, oh, people from Rome are shit, people from Naples are shit, and there's this kind of race. I wouldn't call it race. It's just football, and people, if you follow football on that level, then you're not, it's a low kind of cultural stratum of the populace, and so. Anyway, but there's all these songs, so you cannot really sing those songs anymore. But all, again, talking about the folk elements, like all Italians grew up listening to these songs on the stadiums or at school, because at school you have people supporting one team versus the other, and so there are people singing these songs at the other schoolmates and so on and so forth. And so we basically censored all the regional names, like with Lord of the Rings names. So we are not saying anymore anything against Naples. Now it's singing against Mordor and Saruman. And there's songs against the police, there's songs against Juventus, there's songs against Milan or all Italian teams, and it's everything being replaced. So it's basically if you instead of playing football in Italy, we're playing it in the Lord of the Rings settings, maps and so. It's a very funny thing for me.
I think it's genius. Like I didn't understand the lyrics. I didn't understand the part of the Lord of the Rings, but I recognized the songs because once again, growing up in Portugal and football culture, singing, like we use a lot of the same songs, obviously with different lyrics towards, different opponents and stuff like that. So I grew up in that. So the moment that song started, I was like, what the hell? Like, this is perfect. I loved it because it brought all of these different ultras songs that the ultras sing in the stadiums, brought it all together. That culture came together, and I thought the song had such nice fluidity. It was like you could feel like there's pieces of different songs together, but it almost feels like a nice little rhapsody. It just brings it all together.
Okay. Yeah, I think that Freddie Mercury from above is not enjoying this kind of sentence, but
he was talking about Rhapsody of FIFA.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, not a fire either. I'm talking about just FIFA.
Rhapsody of UEFA. Yeah,
of UEFA. You guys had several guest musicians on this record, and I know I mentioned the great Domenico Mini before, and I'm not going to lie to you. I actually, at the end of the record, I was looking at the credits, at the notes from the PR team, and I'm like, okay, I see Francesco Paoli here. I see Jade from Frozen Crown. Where the hell is Domenico Bini? Like, was he too expensive to get him on the record? I mean, how do you have a folk metal album and you don't have him?
We need to make a folk metal volume 2. We cannot, get everything on board for the first one. So...
We still don't deserve it. He's too much for us.
You know what my son said when I showed him the record and I played the album for him? And he's like, oh, there's those 2 songs at the end, like one in Spanish and one in German. You guys did your own covers. And he's like, they didn't do a cover of Il Vulcano? Like that was what he said to me. He was like, no. He's like, how do you not do that? Like, how do you not have a cover there?
Because Il Vulcano is already an Italian folk metal song. So we didn't have anything to do.
I really feel like you guys missed an incredible opportunity.
But you're not mentioning neither Richard Benson, as you remember on the last reaction that we had. And
he wasn't there on Richard Benson, I think. Or where?
He was not?
No, it was with the other, with the Sirenia.
Sorry. Yeah, no, wait, sorry. I got confused. Yeah, it was with Domenico Bini. Yeah. There's another important guitarist here in Italy that's even way better than Domenico Bini. You will find out. Maybe we will send you.
Now you got me curious because I was going to purchase Domenico Bini Volume 1, 2, and 3. So now you got me excited. Yeah. I was honestly, I'm not even joking now. I was actually surprised that you guys didn't have something with him on the record. But and that takes me to my next question, which is you guys have had worked with different Italian musicians, like on this record, Francesco and Jade. Is there somebody? On a serious note, is there somebody in Italy or outside of Italy that you would love to collaborate on a future song or a record?
Yes, but we cannot say that because it's gonna happen. We can say that off record if you want, but
so there's something in the works.
There's yes,
definitely.
Okay, it's good to know. It's good to we'll leave it under wraps then.
And the best thing about that is everyone will understand the joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so. I mean, I don't know if because I said it already in a couple of interviews and written somewhere, but we basically already written a new album also for the international audience. It's almost ready. It's like most of it has been written. So
you're getting there.
Get prepared because we got something really big going on. So. We cannot say more than that.
Okay, you guys got me excited. So for the last question, because I know we're running out of time for the last question, as you now perhaps have a chance to look at this album and kind of simmer your thoughts with it, what do you feel is the biggest strength of Italian folk metal?
The cover artwork.
I would say I want to say something, but I don't know how to say the various stuff that you can find inside. It's very different one from each other, the songs. So it's not boring. Let's say that it's not boring.
It's definitely not a boring album, and I have to agree, the artwork is phenomenal.
Okay, cool.
The artwork is phenomenal. On that note, guys, thank you very much for your time today. All the best with the release, all the best with the record. Thank you for taking the time, and I'm just glad that this didn't happen at 4 o'clock in the morning. So
Thanks. We're happy. We're happy about that too. So thanks a lot.
Next time
guys.
we will do it.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you in the future.